views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hey guys, welcome to Foodie Down Bronx. I'm your host, the Hungry Dominican. Happy 2020. On this edition of Foodie Down Bronx, we're talking about giving back through food and education. So if you like to eat, stay tuned. From BronxNet to the world, this is Foodie Down Bronx. Welcome once again to Foodie Down Bronx. Make sure you stay connected to us on Instagram at BronxNetTV, at Foodie Down Bronx, and follow me at The Hungry Dominican. On today's show, our health and wellness correspondent, Mary Van Rose, will learn more about the Edible Academy over at the New York Botanical Garden. Then I'll sit with Holy Apostle Soup Kitchen to discuss volunteering beyond the holiday season. But before we do all that, let's do what we do at the top of every show. Let's get into this week's Chew News. Grubhub has released its Year in Food report highlighting food trends all across the country. The majority of foods that were ordered through the food delivery system were vegan or vegetarian. They made up for 7 out of the top 10 spots. Cauliflower pizza took the top spot, followed by spicy Brussels sprouts. But here in New York, it's a very different story, as the classic bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich took the #1 spot. For those looking to go vegan in 2020, a new report by Happy Cow, which is a service that lists vegan and vegetarian restaurants, has named London the most vegan-friendly city in the world. London currently has 152 vegan restaurants, and 100 of those were already in operation by 2017. New York City came second on the list with 111 restaurants within a 5-mile radius of the city. If you have heard of the term sober curious, then you might also know that according to Bon Appetit, the market for zero to low alcohol beverages is expected to grow 32% between right now and 2022. Sober Curious, which is also the name of a book by Ruby Warrington, is a wellness approach to not drinking alcohol or just cutting down on it significantly. And this new wave of thinking has gotten the attention of certain brands that are offering more non-alcoholic products. From Heineken advertising its non-alcoholic beers in New York City subways, to Miller Coors purchasing up a kombucha brand in California, it looks like the drinking culture in 2020 will look very different than the one right now. All right, guys, that is this week's Chew News, giving you a little food for thought. Foodie Down Bronx will be right back. Welcome back to Foodie Down Bronx. I'm your host, the Hungry Dominican. Healthy Bronx Bites with Mary is a new bi-weekly segment with our health and wellness correspondent, Mary Van Rose. On today's segment, Mary heads over to the New York Botanical Garden to learn about their Edible Academy.
Hi, MN viewers. This is Healthy Bronx Bites with Mary. I'm your host, Mary Van Rose. We're excited to be at the beautiful New York Botanical Garden in the Bronx to learn more about their state-of-the-art educational facility called the Edible Academy. I'm happy to be joined by Gianna Braca, the garden educator here at the Edible Academy. So hi Gianna, I just want to say thank you so much for joining me today. So I want to know a little bit more about the Edible Academy here at the New York Botanical Gardens.
Yes, thanks Mary. So I've been a garden educator here for about 6 years now, but the Edible Academy site that we're in right now is actually only about 1.5 years old. Before this, we were on the same lands, but we were gardening outside only. So this is a sustainable, state-of-the-art building. Now it's very exciting that we're able to host classes all year long, and visitors as well.
So how did you get involved with this? Because this is not a normal job title.
Yeah. So I grew up coming to the garden. I have such fond memories of when I was young. My family would take me here. I went with school. So in my heart, this was just always like a really great place for me to come. I just always loved it. And being more exposed to fresh, healthy foods, learning different recipes, going to farmers markets, which I never really grew up going to. Being exposed to that at school made me really make the connection that growing food in urban landscapes is definitely possible. And that's something I feel really passionate about.
Why are you passionate about it?
It's so important.
Especially in the Bronx.
It's especially in the Bronx. I work with kids every day. They live right here, right in the Bronx, and they're a little bit afraid, and all kids too, are afraid to try new healthy foods. But if they grow them, if they see them in the garden, it's a really hands-on activity. They really take ownership of harvesting the plants, identifying those plants, and then bringing those plants inside to cook, they're more inclined to try it and make healthy choices and maybe live healthier lives. And the kids love it. It's very fun, and it's really meaningful for me too to feel like I'm making a difference in my community.
Oh, I love that. So this is your community. You're
Yeah.
here for the community, and the kids here. That's amazing.
Yeah, I feel very passionate about helping the Bronx and New York City.
Thank you. I know we have these amazing goodies that you actually brought in from the garden just yesterday, and you're gonna make us this amazing salad. So can you tell us, how do we prep the salad? First, what is it called?
Yes, so today I'm making a winter crop slaw, and the reason why I chose this recipe was for a few reasons. One, it's highlighting a lot of things that a lot of produce that we grow in our garden. Two, because you will find a lot of these things in the farmers markets and grocery store around this time of year, and they'll tend to be a lot fresher. So I chose to highlight these delicious different ingredients today.
So what's the first one we need to make this slaw?
The first one I'm going to use is called a purple or red cabbage here. I am going to use about a quarter of it. I like to cut it in half and then quarter. And today the tool that we're going to be using for the slaw is a box grater. So I really like this box grater. It has many different size blades. And I'm going to start with the purple cabbage going this way on this side here. The reason why I chose the purple cabbage also was not only is it seasonal, it's going to add a pop of color to our dish.
Nice. And then what's our next ingredient?
The next ingredient in here is called kohlrabi, okay? This might be pretty foreign to a lot of us.
I know for me.
yeah.
Kohlrabi, what's this?
Yeah, trust me, I didn't learn about it until I actually started working here. But kohlrabi is an edible stem, and it looks purple on the outside, but what you'll do at home is either take a peeler, or I like to use my knife, and I just kind of peel the skin, and you'll see it's like nice and light on the inside. And I have one here that I peeled ahead of time, and we're gonna grate that kohlrabi as well.
So what's so good about this? Like, what is like the nutritional value? Why should we add this to our salads?
I like it because when I work with kids here, we talk about different plant parts, and this is an example of an edible stem. So we're using leaves today with the cabbage. We have a lot of edible leaves here in our garden, but we use this mostly as teaching the importance of stems in plant life. It's crunchy like an apple, but it's more savory. So I really like the kohlrabi, and I think you'll like it too.
And if somebody wants to like enroll their children into this
Yeah.
program, how would they go about that?
Yeah, thank you for asking. We have so many different programs at the Edible Academy, including spring break camps, summer break camps. We have something called the Children's Gardening Program. It's for children of all ages. If you're teachers at home, you can register your class to come here. We teach a lot of different field trips for all different ages. And they can do that by going online to NYBG.org.
And what's our third ingredient for this?
The third ingredient I'm using today is a carrot that's fresh from our gardens. They are not like your typical orange carrot that you buy at the grocery
I
store.
was going to say, this is not what I normally see as a carrot. When the kids are here, so the kids, how do they go about it? So do they plant the food and then they come in and cook the food?
Yes, it depends on the season. So these carrots we actually just harvested last week with our second graders, but that's because they came here in the fall time. If they come in the spring, we would plant them, we would tend to them, we would water them, and then watch them grow over time. So what I'm going to do here, we have two carrots. One's a golden carrot. I'm going to show you what I do with that with the dressing. But first, I'm going to show you this red carrot here. So it's red on the outside, but when you start to peel it, it's orange. Not all carrots are orange. Some are purple, some are red, some are orange on the inside.
Do they have the same taste?
I think they do. I think they do. But when working with kids, it also gets them excited about trying new things. So they'll see this carrot, they call it like the golden carrot, and they'll be very excited to try something new. So I want to show you how it's red on the outside, orange on the inside. I'm just going to grate a little bit for you to see.
And I notice you're using different parts of the grater. Why is that?
Yeah, so that's just my preference. I like the different shapes, the different textures, and how it looks. At home, this is a really fun and easy tool to experiment with. So kind of just have fun with it. It's all to your preference. It's all gonna kind of taste the same, but it's just different shapes and textures that I'm kind of going for today.
So we add a little bit of that. Oh,
Mix it with our tongs.
yes.
Get my compost.
So now that we have our slaw all together, right? I know we
Almost.
need to make sure that we have a little bit extra flavor. Oh wait, I'm actually missing an ingredient.
My
What's the
last
next one?
ingredient is our broccoli here.
I was actually doing that on purpose. I don't really like broccoli, but maybe with the dressing, I'll like the broccoli.
And to be honest, we're only adding a little bit of broccoli today, so I'm just gonna cut.
No, but it's so good for you. I heard it's like a superfood.
It
It's one of those
is, it
things
is.
that's really good for the body.
It's so good for you, and like I said, I'm a gardener and I always talk about plant parts. So broccoli is actually edible flower buds. So each little piece of broccoli here, that's an edible flower bud. So today we're using many different plant parts here in our slaw. And I work with the kids, so teaching them that you can eat different plant parts, they're different colors. It has like more meaning for me than just the cooking, mostly the botany too. So I'm just gonna switch now to this microplane. You could still use that one, but for the broccoli, it's a little bit easier to kind of like just go right on top, just like this.
I know if I was a kid, I would have, actually, I'm as an adult, I'd probably have a lot of fun doing this.
It's fun, it's really fun.
Looks
So,
like little
just
like
that.
green snowflakes. So yes, now we're gonna use our tongs, right? And we're gonna mix this up. And we obviously wanna add some more flavor. So I see you have this amazing dressing here. What is it called?
Yeah, so this is a carrot ginger dressing, and we do make this with our kids here. It's part of our programs. It's really simple. I'm gonna start today by adding just some of the simple ingredients. I'm gonna be adding some rice vinegar. It's about 1/3 cup. I'm gonna be adding 1/3 cup of sesame oil. And if you don't have these exact ingredients at home, just be sure that it's a 1-to-1 ratio of oil and vinegar. So you can use a white vinegar, you can use a canola oil. I'm just gonna be adding a pinch of pepper. If you are measuring at home, it's about 1/8 of a teaspoon. A pinch of salt. About a tablespoon of our ginger here, and I just peeled the fresh ginger and roughly minced it. Very roughly, because I'm gonna be using it here in my immersion blender.
So for those of us at home who don't have any culinary skills, so what does mincing mean?
Oh, thank you. So mincing means just chopping things very small.
Got it.
Very small. I'm going to be using juice from one lime. This is my little trick here. I kind of just like push on it. It gets it a little bit easier to get the juice out. I have my citrus squeezer here, so it makes it really easy to juice things.
Yeah, I have to buy one because I keep squeezing it and it gets in my eye and it's just
Yes.
like a mess.
Well, I have a trick I'm going to show you too. So that's with 1/2 of the lime. The other half I'm going to use, because I know not everybody has that at home. I personally don't. But everyone has a fork, of course. So you're going to take your lime, just squeeze the fork in here, and it's almost does the same trick. Like you kind of just like squeezing it, moving it side to side, getting the juice out.
Oh, wow. And it's not as messy.
Not as messy, yeah. Cool. So I mentioned that this is a carrot ginger dressing. Today, just to be fun, I'm going to be adding a golden carrot. I'm going to use my grater here.
So is there a reason why you use lime and not lemon? Because I know lemon is like something people love.
Yeah, so thank you for sharing that. I use lime. I use lime just because I wanted to, I felt like it went with the flavors a little bit more. But at home, if you have some of these ingredients and you don't have a lime, please use a lemon. I'm always teaching the kids how to think of alternatives, because I want people to be able to feel like they can try these ingredients, try these recipes, and substitute some ingredients if they don't have exactly everything.
What I also love about lime for me is that I learned recently that lime is actually alkalining, which I think is such an important thing. I think what I love about the Edible Academy so far is that not only are the kids like growing stuff, but they're actually like learning how to cook what they're growing. So there's a science component to it that obviously you love. There's obviously the cooking component that I'm quite sure the kids love, and the eating component, which someone like me loves.
Yes.
So,
I'm gonna add my orange carrot in here too.
nice.
Just to mix it up, see how the colors turn out.
I never even thought about adding carrots to a dressing.
Yeah, it's a great way to get kids involved and adults too. Carrots might not be the first thing you want to have as a snack, but this is a nice, easy way to get carrots involved in your diet.
Yes. That's important for kids because I know me, I was actually not a picky kid, but like my brother and sister are super picky, and I'm quite sure my mom would have loved to do something like this. So what do we go do now?
So yeah, this is my immersion blender. If you have a regular blender at home, this does the same kind of thing. If you don't, you can just chop everything up pretty small and still kind of make the same dressing by mixing it with a whisk. But you'll see I'm gonna just be pulsing it. And the reason why I'm pulsing it is so I can get the ginger just a little bit smaller and mixing everything up. Just like that. So pretty simple. It's really easy to make a lot of salad dressings. I make them with kids all the time. I make them at home. To me, it's like a lot healthier than just buying what I see at the store. There's
Why
a lot
is
of
that?
additives.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of sugars, I think, in the store-bought salad dressings. And for me, it's so simple just to whip something up at home. So I'm gonna mix in some of our orange carrot dressing. I made this before. It's our golden carrot dressing. So just to kind of, it's all the same ingredients, but just mixing up the colors.
It smells really good, guys. I know you can't smell it, but it smells good. We're gonna
Shake
take
it up.
we're gonna take a little Put that in there, taste a little bit of it.
Yes, just about. But sorry, last but not least, I have to add my fresh honey. So here at the Edible Academy, we have an apiary where we keep bees. And this is fresh from our hive. So this is Bronx honey. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons here.
Bronx honey in the New York Botanical Garden in the Bronx. Bronx honey's the sweetest. No bias.
And a lot of these ingredients are fresh from the Bronx. It's really easy to grow things, to be able to cook new things. And I just want to encourage people not to feel afraid to just kind of go for it. This is a really simple recipe, very easy to make, and I think it's really delicious. So I'm just going to drizzle this on top. Oops.
We'll
mix it in a little bit. There you go.
Let's see. It's like tangy and crunchy. I like crunchy. That's really good, guys.
Thanks for trying it.
No, it's really good. I'm like a slaw salad person myself.
Yeah.
So I just want to say again, thank you so much for all the education and the work you're doing and all the stuff that the New York Botanical Garden is doing for our community. So that's all we have it today, guys, for our Healthy Bronx Bites with Mary. To learn more about the Edible Academy, visit the website below. Be sure to visit and support programs like these at the New York Botanical Gardens in the Bronx. Stay tuned. Foodie Down Bronx will be right back.
TV news, radio reports, and newspaper headlines in the 1970s and 80s misrepresented communities in the borough of the Bronx. Then, something transformative happened. By, for, and about the Bronx, BronxNet was born.
We are BronxNet!
BronxNet provides media education,
opening the doors to competitive careers in the media industry
for thousands of students in middle school,
high school,
and college.
BronxNet.
Welcome back to Foodie Down Bronx. I'm your host, the Hungry Dominican. Holy Apostles Soup Kitchen has been a New York institution since 1982, and by its 25th anniversary in 2007, it had already served up 6 million meals. It is open to the public, no questions asked, and continues to serve thousands of meals a day. Joining us now is Michael Otley of Holy Apostles Soup Kitchen. Mr. Otley.
So glad to be in the Bronx.
Thank you, sir, for joining us today.
Thank you.
So before I start asking you a whole bunch of questions, I want to revisit my own story and my connection with Holy Apostles. When you and I first met, I had shared this with you. I had mentioned that back in the holiday season of 2010, I found myself in a situation in which I was homeless. I did not have a place to live. I was searching for a job. I was one of the many people who utilized HASK, which is Holy Apostles Soup Kitchen, for a meal. And through that whole ordeal that lasted several months, it was a very humbling experience, but I got to know a very different side of New York that I don't think I've ever experienced or felt within those months. And it was primarily due to the staff at Holy Apostles, to the people that I saw every day that were, whether it be a volunteer or someone who was, there on a day-to-day basis. It really opened my eyes to this world of generosity that I really didn't know. I didn't really understand. I had been to soup kitchens before when I was younger, through high school programs and things like that, but really going through it sort of humbles one and puts things to a different perspective. How long have you been involved with Holy Apostles, since it's been around since 1982?
So I started in Holy Apostles in 2009. Again, I was looking for a job at that time. I had suffered, I lost my job, and I came to Holy Apostles, not knowing what Holy Apostles was. And when I walked in the door and I saw this majestic dining room sitting in the nave of a church, it was just an incredible experience because of the welcoming feeling that you get for anybody who comes there. And as you said, there's no means testing what we do whatsoever. So anybody who shows up to Holy Apostles, we'll serve them, whatever your need may be, whether it be a meal for the day or some clothing or some transitional services for housing or some toiletries that you may need or for whatever kind of services you may need, we have them there. And it's an incredible place, and it's been in existence since 1982. At this point, you said in 2007 we had done 6,000 meals. We're way over 9,000 9 million meals.
9 million meals as of today.
As of today. Up to this year to date, we've done 303,000 meals in 2019 compared to 251,000 in 2018. So we're on track to probably hit the mark of about 330,000 meals in 2019, which is an incredible thing.
That's incredible. I want to go back to what you had mentioned. So anybody can go into Holy Apostles. Mm-hmm. It's open Monday through Friday for anyone to come in. I want to talk about that because I think it's very important for people to understand what it means to be homeless, what it means to be in dire straits. Not everyone who necessarily walks into those doors is someone that you would find on the street. And I know this for sure because when I was there, I saw people with business suits come in, just having a meal. And what people need to understand is that it's not just homeless people, but it's people who are financially unstable, food insecurity, who suffer from food insecurity, people who just, they just don't have the money to supply themselves a meal or a loved one a meal, so they use Holy Apostles. And I'm sure that's one of the bigger things you guys also try to do is to sort of erase the stigma, to sort of educate people. Because I think it's just easy to sort of, point at someone and just assume, well, that person's homeless.
Yeah, we hold low judgment. And to be honest with you, the majority of people that come to Holy Apostles aren't so much homeless, but there's a ton of food insecurity in New York. New York is one of the most expensive cities to live in. So you come to Holy Apostles because maybe you have to make a decision between a meal or buying medicine or paying rent or getting that Metro card to get to work, or maybe it's the messenger on the bike delivering your Amazon package, or maybe it's the postal worker or the construction worker that's working in which we now have near us, Hudson Yards. So all of those people come, or it's a senior next door to us who we sit next to the largest natural recurring retirement community in the country called Penn South. And we get a lot of those folks there too. Not only do they come there to eat and do the meal, but we also rely on them as part of our volunteer base. Holy Apostles each year requires about 15,000 volunteers, which contributes to what we do every day. Because without those volunteers and without the services that those people offer, we couldn't do it every day. But again, there's no means testing. So as a senior, or it could be even the craziest thing is one day we did 1,600 meals. I said, where'd this come from? So, I was going around and I asked somebody that was coming in, it looked like a tourist that was going to the High Line, and they said, oh yeah, it's the best free meal in New York. We saw it on Yelp. So I had to beg Yelp to take that review down. But again, everybody is welcome, and we're there to serve, and we serve healthy, nutritional meals that are sustainable for an individual, and everybody is welcome. And I've been to most of the soup kitchens in New York, and there's a lot in the Bronx, but we're there 5 days a week. We're consistent. We've added other programs like Sunday Supper, which is community-based, that brings communities and seniors and children in a day and age when everybody is disconnected by social media, but social media and maybe, the cell phone at the dinner table. But we bring that families together to enjoy a family meal once a month every Sunday. We have a brown bag lunch program that we deliver out into the community that maybe you can't come to the soup kitchen. So if you're displaced at Penn Station in the morning because you're getting kicked out by the commuter, by the commuter rush hour from the people coming from Long Island and New Jersey, and you get out on the street, we deliver you a breakfast sandwich, and we deliver you a bagged lunch. Same with Penn South Senior Center. We deliver to the program called Chat and Chew, which has a group of seniors get together and talk about all of us and the neighborhood and how it's changed, and we deliver a bag lunch to them. And it could be PS 33 across the street, which houses about 75 children that are living in shelters that really have no stability in their life, that at the end of the school day, instead of going to a home or an apartment, they go to a shelter. And that shelter could look like the Holiday Inn Express or the Stewart Hotel or any one of those hotels that don't have the right occupancy. They go into that thing and they go home without a meal. So we deliver meals in the afternoon to them. And we also deal with the immigrant community, and the immigrant community who's being chased down by ICE and the policies of our government and separation of children, and we work with NYU in what we call New Sanctuary Coalitions to help deliver bag lunches to those families and children that are going through the law clinics and being tracked down by ICE. So it's a very diverse program. And I mostly talk about food because my background is food, and I come from the Culinary Institute, and I spent all my life in the culinary field. But Holy Apostles is a whole program where it not only takes care of your nutritional needs, but it also takes care of your social needs, such as clothing and toiletries and all the other things I mentioned. So I don't know if I answered your question. I gave you a lot of information really quickly.
Sure. You did.
But,
you definitely did. I do want to talk about one thing before we wrap up,
Sure.
and because we were actually talking about it right before we started taping,
Sure.
is what's going on with SNAP and the changes that the Trump administration is implementing. Can you give me your thoughts on what's going on?
SNAP is otherwise known as food stamps. So earlier in the year, the administration had the public charge, which dealt with immigrants. And now there's, I think it's called the public change, or I don't know what word they have to it, is going to knock approximately thousands of people nationwide, if not millions of people, off food stamps after they've been on it for a period of time and requiring some work requirement for that thing. That's devastating to New York. Not only is New York, food stamps help people get food that they would not be able to purchase, but it also is good for the local economy. So for every, I don't know the quite statistic, but I want to say for every 60 cents spent on SNAP, $1 or more goes into the local economy. So it's not only helps for local economy, but it also helps people that are in food security. Not everybody. I mean, it's not, I was on food stamps a very, very long time ago. I was in a major car accident, and it's a kind of a humiliating process. And it's not, I think, something that everybody wants to be on, but it's very helpful for those that are on limited income or that have a family to feed. And SNAP benefits only last you 3 weeks. What do you do the 4th week? I mean, right. So, I mean, it's really devastating if this goes into effect, and it would just be devastating. And, we have to stand up and raise our voices, and it's really called food justice. And
right.
Food justice
Absolutely.
is where we're at. And we, food justice, we waste so much food in the United States. I mean, there's 50 or 40% of the food that we produce in the United States is wasted because of transportation, overproduction, the big box retail maybe have these beautiful stands and they throw the stuff after it has no longer use for it. And if we raised our voices and got all these things together, SNAP would be a very profitable program.
Right.
And a very meaningful program, and helps thousands and thousands of New Yorkers.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mike. All right, guys, stay connected to Holy Apostles on Instagram at Holy Apostles Soup Kitchen, and visit their website, holyapostlessoupkitchen.org, to volunteer. Well, that's all for the show. Thank you again for tuning in, and thank you to our guests today for joining us. Tune in every Thursday at 6:30 p.m. here on BronxNet, Optimum 67 and FiOS 33. Also tune in on the go at bronxnet.org and find us on YouTube. From BronxNet to the world, this is Foodie Down Bronx. I'm your host, the Hungry Dominican, reminding you to feed your mind, feed your body, and if you see me coming along, feed me. Adios.